Good morning or good evening everyone, Uncle speaking. And in this video, I was on the motorcycle live show in Birmingham in 2025 and I was watching custom Indian motorcycles. They look absolutely stunning. Magnificent bikes. I don't know which one I prefer the most. Scout or the bigger one? I think the bigger one. Anyways, you can't pack your stuff on it, so you can't tour on it other than with backpack. But that's not good for a 50-year-old chap. So I went to see the regular bikes. And what new do we have here? And you know what? Since last year, I don't see much new here. Lovely Indian Scouts, I really like them, especially the 101. This is brilliant, eh? But I think it's a new color scheme and that's all. Very good looking bike, but I prefer something more classic, like that one. But I think those bikes are already here since 2024, I believe. So the big question, what have changed since last year? And I don't think there is much of a change. Well, those bikes are still gorgeous. I would like to have that one. However, I still prefer the old Indian Scout engine, I mean the look of it, and the exhaust. This one is kinda... I don't know how to call it, but... well, I don't know what's wrong with it, but the look of the older engine was just better. And the exhaust. Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, this is absolutely brilliant bike. And I would like to have one. But anyway, again, let's go back to the topic. What new do we have from Indian? Well, I'm not quite sure because I don't know every single model here. I can only tell if there is some innovation, if there is some really brand new model, and I cannot see anything like that. The only thing I can see are the older models with some add-ons, like new panniers or new windshield. And for the starters, I don't like windshields, I think that the screens are good for cars, so I don't need that and that's not good. However, the panniers are pretty useful. However, those panniers are kinda high and small and it resembles something. Oh yeah, they look similar indeed. Anyways, I would prefer something like that probably. I think those panniers look better. However, overall, the bike looks okay. But is this a new bike? Is this something innovative? Something which I would jump to? I don't think so. However, this bike, no matter what, it's an older bike, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. Spot on. Bloody hell. It's expensive, but I want one. Indian? Sponsorship? Maybe? Just kidding, because I will just now say that this bike is a bloody monstrosity. I mean, it's big, massive, supposedly it's fast and nimble for such a tractor, but I don't like it. Anyways, this... yep, this is a proper motorcycle. But it's getting closer to 20k, so it's bloody expensive. And talking about inexpensive motorcycles, we've got this Morbidelli, which visually I really dislike. But hey, each to their own, maybe someone will like it. However, technically, it's not a bad motorcycle. It's a lightweight cruiser, same as Indian Scout. It's a probably nimble bike, so it will be okay. For sure it has got better brakes than regular Indian Scout, and the engine will be similar in characteristics to Indian Scout, but 60. But anyway, no matter what, I would prefer Indian Scout. Because it's ugly. That's what I think. However, if you like this look, then it's absolutely fine motorcycle. And it's got two front discs, which is better than Scout. Well, any except 101 of course. And it's really cheap. And that's a bonus. And you know what? The bonus is also that this bike is different, it's innovative. It's something completely different than the other motorcycles. So I think if you like something like that, then it's really good. But then let's look for something even better. And that's Benda. And Benda is a Chinese producer of motorcycles. but they are actually making really good looking motorcycles in my opinion. The only problem is that this one is just 500cc. And of course it's a factory custom, so it's got some problems of course. You can't pack, you can't tour on it, other than with the backpack. So I think I said it already today. This is not good. However, contrary to the Indian customs, this motorcycle is really cheap because it's 5500 only. Brilliant, eh? So what else do we have here from Benda? We've got this weird motorcycle, which is not new either, but it's weird. 4 cylinders and 300mm rear tire, something like that. However, this is ugly, but that one is beautiful. It really is. I would really like to have one. Well, there is so many bikes I would like to have. But this one would be absolutely smashing if only the engine would be like at least 800cc. And you know what? Benda have one. V4 950. The only problem is that the British important didn't show that bike here, and it's not for sale. They only showed us this thing, which is, this is ugly. This is called SRT 600, and this is V4, but it doesn't matter because it's ugly. However, there is one thing I have to say, that Chinese manufacturers, they are actually trying to make something different, and I really hoped that they will show this motorcycle. Benda Napoleon Bob 250. Idiotic name, however the bike is beautiful. It's also idiotic that it's got only 250 engine. However, if the price would be right and adequate to 250 engine, I mean something like 4K, 4500 maybe, up to, I would seriously consider buying one, because that would be cheap and that bike looks absolutely amazing. And there is also another bike from Benda which was missing on the show, and that's called Dark Flag V4 950. 4-cylinder engine but V4, and characteristic again similar to Indian Scout. 250 kilograms weight, so brilliant lightweight cruiser. And I would really like to try one and see one in the flesh. But unfortunately it didn't happen, so we went to see what's happening with Harley. And yeah, there is plenty of good looking motorcycles, however, nothing new. I mean, well, there is this, but I absolutely don't get it. It's ugly, it's not good. If I would like to have this sort of bike, I would probably buy KTM or GS. And then they used this new engine in this, except instead of 150 horsepower, this has got 120-ish, which is pure nonsense. Why? Also, what is the problem of this bike? It's its left side, because it looks like plasticky crap. It really does. Right side look okay, but the left side is a nightmare. It really is. But then we've got those old school Harleys, like Breakout and others, which are, yeah, they are really good, they look nice. And I guess if you want to have a new bike, brand new, which looks old, then it's good to buy Harley. And I would say there is nothing interesting for me here, but actually this Heritage Classic looks really good. I wouldn't mind to have one. But hold on a second, I actually have something really similar. Anyways, we've got also something like that, and that is, I don't understand it. Because I grew up with bikes like this one, and that's what I think is a good looking motorcycle. And on that note, let's finish this, because there was really not much new on the cruiser market at all. Well, I know there was also BMW, but that's rubbish. And there was nothing interesting at all from Japanese manufacturers. So, is it the end? I don't know. I have really high hopes in Benda. Thanks for watching. Cheers.